Hi guys, you're welcome to Kunmi Exclusive, your go-to place for elegant sewing made simple. I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this blouse. So stick with me to the end and you won't just master a powerful technique, you will also uncover a hidden secret and witness the stunning outcome of this sewing project. This is the fabric I will be using. It's a 2 yards mirror mikado, and here is the other part of the fabric. It's equally 2 yards, although I would only be using a fraction of the fabric. So this is the upper part of the fabric. At the point of purchase, when they want to measure in yards, this is where it is determined, while the other side is the length. To put a better perspective to this is what I mean. Remember, I told you this fabric is 2 yards. A yard is 36 inches, so this is 37. So I just have a 1 inch extra. So this is the width. The upper part shows the width and this side shows the length. So this is me trying to show you how to fold this 2 yards fabric such that it will be enough for you. This is 2 yards, but if you don't fold it correctly, it won't be enough. So fold it into two like this such that the side is now the upper part. Then you fold it again like this. This way your folding is into four. That's because we would be cutting the front and back piece together, and there is not going to be joining at the shoulder. The next thing I will do is to indicate my measurements. This right here is the waist. About 8 to 8.5 inches from there is the hip line, depending on the size of your client. And then I proceeded to mark the length of the blouse plus sewing allowance of 1 inch. The length is 32. My client didn't want it to be as long as the style we are trying to replicate. So ours is just going to be 32 inches plus 1 inch hemming allowance, that makes it 33. And this is the blouse length, like I said, plus hemming allowance. The next thing I will do is to indicate our shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 15.5. I'm going to mark that. I won't be adding sewing allowance to the shoulder. There's not going to be an extra joining from there. Instead, there is a folding immediately after the shoulder, right? So I want mine to be 3.5 inches wide. So I'll mark 7 inches. It's on two fold. So I'm going to mark 7 inches. From that 7 inches, I will mark my client's sleeve measurement. Our sleeve length is 13 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So I'll be marking 14.5. After that, I will determine how wide I want the sleeve to be. So I want it to be 9.5, but then I'll be adding 0.5 inch to it for sewing allowance. Then I will determine this altogether, what I have here, and I'm just going to bear that in mind. This is me marking the wideness of the sleeve, 10 inches. I'll connect it together with a ruler. This is optional. I just want to ensure that my whatever measurement I'm inserting is straight, is not slanted in any way. But this is optional. If you are sure that your hand will be straight, why not? What I measured up there the other time, I will be measuring it right here, and I will just mark, and then I will connect with a ruler upward. So our hip is 51. 51 divided by 4 gives me 12.7. Remember that 7 inches that I mark here, right? Don't forget to add it. I would like to give it an allowance of 0.7. That's what I'm adding right here. 0.7. So altogether, if you check what we have, I mean the 12.7, if you check the 12.7 plus the extra 7 inches for that folding plus the 0.7 sewing allowance, that gives us a total of 20.4, which I will just approximate to 20.5. So that's what I will mark all the way to the end. I hope you understand. So I have marked and connected together. I just came down by 2 inches and I'll make a slight curve. I'll come right here and determine how wide I want the neckline to be. I'll be using a wideness of 3 inches, and for the back piece I will be using a neck depth of 0.5. I'll mark 0.5 at this end as well, and I'll connect together with my ruler. Then I'll give it a slight curve. This is for the back piece. The next thing I will do is I'm just trying to confirm my measurements. You know what they say, measure twice and cut once. So I'm just trying to confirm. And like I said, for my client, she's a plus size. The distance between our waistline and our hip is 8.5. She's a plus size, but she's not tall. So 8.5 will be fine. In some cases, you can use 9 inches, but in this case, 8.5 is perfect. Can you see? I'm just going to trim off the neckline and I'll show you what's next. Open it up like this. Did you get that? When you open like this, your sleeves will be together this way, and then I will use the portion that has markings as my front piece, and then I'll come down by 2 inches. So from the upper part to this point I want to come down by 12, but since I know that line is 10, so I just came down by 2 inches. So from there I came in by 1 inch. I will do that to the end of the blouse. Don't forget, from the shoulder downward you come down by 12 inches. Ensure you secure your fabric with pin, and then so from that shoulder to the 12 inches point I would give it a slight curve. Make it very slight so that when you are stitching it doesn't prove really difficult for you. I'm just going to trim out I have trimmed out and this is what I have. Can you see? So this is the front piece like I said, and this other place is the back piece. I'll mark 1.5 inch. I'll connect the markings together. If your sewing allowance is 2 or 1, just mark 1 inch. Mine is 1.5, so that's why I marked 1.5. This is how I will stitch it. I'll fold it like this into 0.7 like this, and I'll fold it one more time and I'll stitch. I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve, then come back. Can you see? I have stitched both sleeves and that's what we have. I'll come right here. I have opened up the fabric and I pinned this way. This will be necessary for the next step we are about to take. It's optional but strongly advisable. So I have folded like this. Please note that this is being done on the right side of the fabric. Come here and mark your shoulder measurements. My client's shoulder measurement is 15.5, don't forget. So I have marked that. Remember that 7 inches that we marked the other time? This is the time we need to act on it. Mark 7 inches, locate the midpoint and decide where you want the pleat to stop. I'll just let it stop at our waistline, which is 18 inches. So I'll mark 18 inches on both sides. I'll connect like this, but to just to be sure that my ruling is straight, I'll come right here and mark our shoulder measurement, and from there I'll mark 7 inches. Then I will indicate the midpoint of that 7 inches, which is 3.5. Then I'll connect together. I'm going to repeat this process on the four sides of this fabric. Remember, it's on 4 folds. This is the other side of the front piece. I'm going to do that right here. Can you see? Then I will open it up like this. This is the front. Can you see? I marked both sides of the front piece. Then I'll go ahead and fold so I can do the same process on the back piece. So I've done that and I'm just going to stitch it like this directly on this marking. I'm going to stitch across the shoulder to the other side to the back piece. I'm going to stitch like this. So I've done that. Can you see? This is what we have. If you'll be making this for a client, I would there is a fabric pen that I would suggest that you use. I'll go ahead and pin my fabric just the way you see me do. I'll pin it all the way to the end. Do not forget that there is a string by the sides that enables you pull the blouse up to create some ruffle effect. I will come here and mark the sewing allowance I initially gave the blouse at the point of cutting, and I'm going to connect together this way. If you can with your hand, why not? If you need a ruler, go ahead. Just note that you would need to be a little careful. I'm going to mark the same thing. In fact, it's because of that side string that I decided to make the sewing allowance 0.7. I need it to be reasonable wide so my strings can stay comfortably in there. 0.5 will be too small, and I didn't want it to be too wide as well. I didn't want the casing for the string to be too wide as well because of the armpits, that curvy region. There is a way dresses that do not have joining used to drag. So from the hip line I came upward, as you can see. If not that my clients didn't want the string to come to be too high, I would have taken it to the waistline. The next thing I would do is to put the four sides of my fabric together and notch that region where I want the strings to start from. Remember, I came upward from the hip by 6 inches, so I just put the fabric together and gave it a notch since my marking was only done on one piece and I need it to be noticeable on the other sides of the fabric as well. I would fold like this and notch the midpoint of the back neckline, and I'm just going to keep that for future use. I'm going to measure this place from one end to the other. That's what I will use to cut the black fabric. At this point where we notched, we have 37. You can just multiply that by 2. So the wideness is 4 inches and the length is 37 multiplied by 2 plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So I have folded it into 2. The part that is folded is up and the part that is open-ended is down. So this is me locating the midpoint of this piece. Remember, the wideness is 4 inches, so the midpoint is 2 inches. So I've located the midpoint. I would come down by 12.5. For any adult, 12.5 is good. Their head will be able to pass through conveniently with a reasonable size of hairstyle, and it's also not going to show their cleavage. I will stitch downward from that marking, and I just remembered there's going to be a slit, and so I'm going to stitch from this point. I won't stitch the upper part, I'll stitch from this point and end it here. I won't stitch this part. Instead, I'll fold it the right side facing the right side, and I'll stitch the base with 0.5 inch sewing allowance, 0.5 here as well. So I have stitched the line in between these 2 points. I've also stitched the M, as you can see. So I'm just going to flip to the right side, and this is what you are going to have. So this is the sides. Look at the part we left, and this is what we have. This is enough for our casing. At first I weaved individually and all the way to the end, and then I put them together and weave this way. Then at some point I released my hand. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and fold the hem of the blouse with 1 inch sewing allowance. I'll do that for this side. Remember the front slit piece has been splitted into two. So this is what we have. This is the black piece. I'm just going to flip to the right side, and this is how to go about it. This way, can you see? The next thing is to also locate the midpoint of this and give it a notch. Now I will go ahead and align the midpoint of this black piece with the midpoint of this pink fabric, and I'm going to carefully pin all the way to the hem of the blouse. You can start with any side, either the right or the left, any side whatsoever. Just pin carefully to the end. To be able to pin the other side, you would need to flip the fabric to the wrong side. That's when you can pin it comfortably. As you can see, I have flipped to the wrong side, and I would simply proceed with my pinning. When I'm done, I'll go ahead and stitch with 0.5 inch, and I'm going to overlock the edge. I have stitched, and if you look critically well, I have overlocked the edges. Although I overlocked with a black thread, might not be so easy for you to see. So this is the right side, and this is what it looks like. I haven't pressed it yet, that's why it's looking this way. This is our slit. So these are 1 inch wide. I have them in 4 places. So I'm going to fold like this. I'll fold again, and I'm going to stitch all the way to the end. While you are going to leave one end open-ended, you are going to fold in the other end. I don't know if you understand. Stitch all the way like this, then come to this end and fold it like this, then fold and fold again, then you stitch. You just need to fold just one end, it doesn't have to be the two. So I have done the 4 strings. Just ensure, even if it is not going to be so long, ensure it is as long as the space you left. Fold like this. Can you see why I made my sewing allowance 0.7? If I had made it 0.5, I would have encountered difficulty here. Now that part that is rough is the part that will be inside, that will be where people will not see. While the other part that will fold, that we folded before stitching, is the part that will come out for people to see. Fold like this. So you are going to start your sewing from this end. Sew like this all the way. When you get here, you may want to reverse and then stitch all the way. I'll do that for the two sides. So this is what I have. Just pull it out like this. Can you see? So on the outside, this is what it's going to look like. We are almost done. We are left with the inner belt. And then I'm going to put button at the center. So there are people who make the buttons. If you also have the machine, you can go ahead and do it yourself. I'm going to make button with the pink fabric. Can you see? We are almost there, guys. I ironed a bit and I flipped to the wrong side. This is the waistline, 18 inches. I'll come to the other side as well and mark 18 inches, which is our waistline. That's where I want the belt to be. You can decide to come up by 1 inch from the waistline. It depends on you. So I just want to ensure it's straight. You don't want to have one belt up and then the other one is slightly below. So this is the belt. There is no rule really as to how long the belt should be. I made mine to be 4 inches wide so that when I fold it into two, it's going to be 1.5 inches wide, you know. Right now it is 4 inches wide. On two folds, it is 2 inches. By the time I stitch with half inch on both sides, I'm going to be left with 1.5. And this is how I'm going to stitch. When you're done, you flip to the right side. Mind you, this is how long it is anyways. I use the lazy man method, guys. I stitched the exact way I stitched that string the other time. It's going to be inside anyways. Nobody is going to see it. So I'm going to now, what interval do you want from the center do you want the belt to be? So I'm just going to mark 5 inches and then I'm going to place it on this 0.5 and I'm going to stitch on that 5 inches mark. Please note that this belt is placed on the at the center of that marking. I marked 5 and then I marked 4.5 inches. So the belt is going to be placed on 4.5 marking and stitched on 5 inches marking. You would also notice that the belt is placed at the center of the line. So I'll go ahead and give it a very good press and attach my buttons. Can you see? I later reduced it to 4 inches, guys. This is it. This is what it looks like in the front, and at the back there is no trace of stitching showing there. Of course, the stitching was done on the right side. So after giving it a good press, this is what I have. This is the side. Can you see? So these are the belts. I must really appreciate you for watching to this extent. This is the outcome of the blouse. My clients will be rocking this on a pencil skirt with elastic on both sides of the waist. If that sounds like what you would like to see, kindly check on my next upload. For more clarification, you may leave me comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel till I come your way next time. Bye for now.